In this video, we'll take a look at how to use the Prism progress email feature. This is particularly useful during midterms and final report cards for e-learning. So to begin, go over to Classes in the left-hand ribbon, choose your appropriate class, and go to the action dots to get into it. Everything we'll be doing today is going to be taking place in the Progress and Marks section. Click there. And in order to start editing this stuff, you always got to make sure you press the Edit Progress button. Then from here, let's just assume I just put in these midterm marks. I've checked off if there's any credit alerts, especially if we're now at midterms or going towards finals. This is where I can start to alert the student and parent, as well as any homeschool people checking on this, that the credit could be in jeopardy. That generally is what that credit alert means. Now, in terms of the progress emails, there's kind of two important things that I would always do before I go and send one of those through Prism. The first is I would check the level of engagement and see if it's still accurate for the time. So in this case, let's say for this student, let's say they actually have a 45. Save that every time I click off of it. And then let's say that they're not engaged. That since the last time their mark has dropped and they've basically not engaged at all, and the rest stay the same. Now, in order for us all to be on the same page as to what these mean, if you scroll down and go off to the right here, you'll actually see that there's a legend that describes what each of these are, so that we're all using the same language and sort of the same expectations in regards to engagement. So you can be looking at that as you're going through this. These can be a nice piece, addition to the email, as I'll show you. The only other thing would just be a comment, a personal comment for each. If at midterms, it might just be the midterm comment or final report card comment. If it's not during those times, it could obviously be a little less formal. In order to make a comment, you just go over to this sort of clock button here, click that, and go to new comment. And I'm going to say midterm. This is a new test comment, and submit it. You'll notice that there is a history of all the ones that you've done previously. By submitting that, I have not sent an email to anyone. No one gets a notification or anything like that. It just shows up under the student's file in Prism. So nothing is done by putting in this new comment that I just did. So at this point, we're now ready to send the email. So I'm going to show you first how to send an individual email. So you go over to the far left here, click the action dots beside the student, and press Send Progress Email. What it will do is load essentially a mock-up of what the email, on what will be in the email. In terms of who will be on the email, it will be the student's parents, they will be included, and as well as the homeschool guidance counselor. By checking the credit alert button over here, I've also made it so that Prism will automatically add the homeschool vice principal as well. And those are the people who will be included on this. So right off the bat, you're able to get communication to home as well as the student in one quick few clicks. And just to show you, there's that not engaged, and it does give you the description right from the legend so that the parents are seeing what it actually means to not be engaged, or limited engagement, good engagement, so on. It will tell them whether there's a credit alert or not, whether that box is checked, how many absences overall they've had since the beginning of the course. It will give the midterm mark, as well as there's that comment that I just typed in. In terms of a comment, it will only ever include the most recent comment put in for that student. So if there's no comment under them, nothing will show up there. And if there is a comment from 2 weeks ago, it will include that if you choose to. What's important is right down below here, you do actually have to check some of these boxes if you want some of this included. So for the comments, if you do want that last comment in for them, you just click there and it will then make sure that this part is included in the email, the additional comments. And then for mark, if I do want to include the midterm marks I've put in, I click there, and as a result, the midterm mark will show up. If you do not click these boxes, this stuff will not be included in the email. So this is sort of showing an overview of everything that could be included, and then you pick and choose what you want included. When you press send, that's it. The email has now been sent. And what's really nice is if you go through your whole class, and kind of choose your different things. I've gone through all this. I've made sure that I've put comments in for each. You can actually press send progress email to all students, and it will automatically, you can cycle through them and choose your whether to include a comment. Generally, I would always want to include that personal comment and include, if it's midterms, the midterm mark, and then I can press send all, and it will email to all students one by one, so that you can get a class set of emails out really quickly. Hope that helps.